Yo! What's going on in the hood? My people, how are you? Happy New Year. What is going on? Guys, give me a shout out. Let me know where you're from. And let me know how drunk you got on New Year's. If you did any drugs, maybe keep that one away. Let me know what you guys been doing. Where y'all from? New Jersey, the dirty Jersey. That's where I was born. Cherry Hill, New Jersey. New Jersey's the best. It's the only place in the world people go skiing in their jeans. Detroit, that's where I live, Juan. I live in Northville, Michigan, outside of Detroit. Kansas City. Okay, Washington State. Mr. Miami. This looks like a coffee. It is. I just woke up from literally a 3-hour nap. Awesome, awesome. Hold on one sec, guys. There we go. All right, all right. We got any Canadians here? You're from Novi. Damn, Juan, why didn't you tell me? We would have went and grabbed some beers. There's a bunch of us traders in the Northville, Novi area. I grew up there my whole life. We're in some ETH. We added it, I believe, yesterday, 8:44-ish. Justin, what's up? English, England. Okay, okay. I got one of the guys that is in my mentoring program, Simon Jones. He lives in Reading, but it's spelled reading. Go figure. Clinton Township in the house. All right, all right. Well, guys, it is a new year. A lot of stuff going on. Man, what a year for trading. I personally had my best year trading ever. You know, I used to tell my students all the time, trading is a young man's game. You know, typically, right, you hear of the heroes of trading. They're always in their 20s. And you know what? I always believed that. But, man, this year at the age of 36, fuck, it seems even weird to say it, I had my best year trading ever, both in the stock market, but also in cryptocurrencies. And a few things happened. Well, number one is I just improved a lot. Like I improve every year a little bit. And then the second part is there have been just such amazing trends in the cryptocurrency market that has also extended into the stock market. And so that's just the way it goes. But you guys are in for a little bit of a treat. I'm back in Florida right now. So, yeah, I do live in Norfolk. I'm back for a few days. I actually thought it was going to be fucking warm down here. And it ended up being just as cold over here as it is in Michigan. So let's get this thing shredded. So today what we're going to do is a couple things. We've got a contest, I believe, which we will. You know I got to do a little swearing, Frosty. We got a contest I'll announce a winner for. Then the second part is I'm going to show you a strategy that I've been using for the cryptocurrency stock market. So you don't even have to know anything about Bitcoin or all of that stuff. You know, long dong fong, I attempted the no swearing for a couple days, but I gave it up. It's a new year, right? Why would I stop swearing? That's just nuts. So let's get into this. And guys, we're going to be shredding. Save your questions to the end, and I will make sure at the end I answer all of them. As you notice, all you degenerates keep typing over and over and over. I'm not going to be able to catch them all, so I will during the end. Hey, Justin, we're on it, baby. That's the way it goes. And hey, Maxwell Fong, you owe me at least a text message or a phone call. Let me know how you're doing. It's been months since I have heard from you. So let's get into that. We'll talk about the new tax bill at the end. Who knows what the tax bill is going to mean? One of the things about taxes is, you know, you live in the greatest country of the history of the earth, and the price we pay to have what we got is taxes. And so that's just the way it's going to go. So I don't know if the new tax bill is going to save us money or not. Don't even care, right? My dad always taught me something. If your taxes go up, just make a little bit more money. No big deal. So that's what we'll do. And we'll figure out the rest later. So let's get into this. I'm going to show you a couple things, and we'll get this party just shredded. Tell me when you see that screen. What the fuck? There we go. Dun, 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 dun. You guys see that screen? Hey, Roberto, what's going on? So remember, today we're not talking about cryptocurrency. We're actually talking about cryptocurrency and blockchain stocks, okay? And so that's the beauty of this, is that the heat in the cryptocurrency market has extended off to the stock market. It's been pretty ridiculous. And you'll see even like, you know, kind of how all this started is, you know, if you go on, so I use TradingView for my charts for, you know, cryptos and stuff like that. So what you'll see that's kind of gone down here is, you know, when we started running this kind of crypto stuff, you know, you had like a monstrous run on Ethereum from really, you know, when we started trading this thing, it was at $100 or whatever. So, you know, now you're at $9,000, right? And you've gotten all these runs in Bitcoin and, you know, all of this stuff from, they're up 15, 20 times, right, in terms of their gains. So what's essentially happening now is with the run that's happened in the actual coins, what people have started to do is say, well, what are the companies that supply the technology for these coins, or that supply anything that has to do with the coins, right? I mean, these coin companies, they have, right, they've got to use servers and networks and blah, 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 right? They've got all sorts of junk that they do. So who are the people that are supplying this craze, right? So one of the things that, you know, you'll see over this course of this year, right, is like one of our main traders that we've been using is, that we trade every day, is NVIDIA. And this is a TC2000. This is my stock sharing, stock trading platform. So one of the things that you'll see with NVIDIA has been since 2016, right? This is a mega cap stock. This bad boy's gone up from $25 to $200, right? $25, $200. So why has NVIDIA gone up so much? Well, for anybody that's bought one of your overpriced showbook, I get louder and louder as we go, baby. That's the way it goes. You got to get used to it and maybe get a couple of earmuffs. So NVIDIA, if you've added some overpriced computer over the last couple years, what have you noticed about the computers that you're buying? They all have skyrocketed in price. One of the reasons is that inside even all trading computers, most people use NVIDIA graphic cards. But what do you need to actually mine Bitcoins? You've got to have graphic cards. So when you do Bitcoin mining, which Bitcoin mining is essentially, right, they're the ones that run the network of Bitcoin, right? And they mine for Bitcoins, meaning when they verify transactions, so they kind of act like the bank almost, they get paid in Bitcoins. And so to mine Bitcoins, you've got to go in and have graphics cards. And so the price of NVIDIA has gone up crazy for one simple reason, that they make graphics cards. They make very overpriced but heavily used graphics cards. You know, this OSTK, so anybody ever been at overstock.com? Big junky website. They sell like shitty t-shirts, shitty rings, pretty much shitty everything, right? So like if you wanted to buy like a pair of Filas, you would go on overstock.com and see if anybody from 2005 has got some Fila, you know, Jerry Stackhouse Filas running around, and you could buy them on overstock.com. So what overstock.com did during this year is they put out some PRs that say, hey, no longer are we going to be selling all this junk. What we're going to do is move all our business into Bitcoin business. Now, they haven't even told us what kind of Bitcoin business that they're going to be doing. But what they have said is that they're going to be getting into the blockchain business in some manner by making an exchange. And so what you started to do once they made those announcements is you started to see the price really start to trend in. Even today, right, it's off to the races. And so I'm going to show you a couple ways to kind of get into these and the ones to really watch. Now, when you have a trender like this, there's a couple different ways that we do things, right? Number one is you can take swing trades in this bad boy and kind of do a longer term trade. Or we do what I do, which is, we go out and shred literally every single day, taking the intraday patterns that show themselves. And so Overstock.com has actually been my #1 stock that I made the most money on this year, because I've been trading it literally every day back and forth due to the fact that it's got this crazy momentum from the actual Bitcoin. Even though, if you go on Overstock.com's website, you don't really see anything that has to do with Bitcoins. Who fucking knows, right? So you see here, you got some junky betting, blah, 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 and off to the races. This doesn't look like a Bitcoin company, does it? It doesn't matter. So all these companies that have been dead in the water this year have been essentially saying that they're getting into the cryptocurrency business. They haven't told us how, but just by saying it, they've actually been able to start making moves. And so that's been kind of an essential thing of this whole market. So let's get into a little bit of this trading. So a couple things, guys. As you know, I am Kunal. I'm the head janitor here at Bulls on Wall Street and now Bulls on Crypto Street. That's our cryptocurrency company. And I know we've got a contest that you guys have been waiting for forever. So I'm going to be announcing the winner at the end. Don't worry about that. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do. We're going to make a watch list of blockchain stocks that you guys can actually be trading and watching. Holy crap, is anybody in this 88? Guys, give me as this thing goes up, man, just give me a couple notices when it starts to really shred. We're long this thing from like 50 cents. Check this out. Side note, so I added this thing at like 59 cents. I only got 3,000 shares left. I had 50,000 shares at like 50 cents. I've been just kind of shredding out along the way, but this stuff is going nuts. Side note, so guys, let me know if that thing goes a little bit rowdy during this, because I'll have to sell off my last shares of it. And then at the end, guys, I'll be doing a little bit of a Q&A. So let's talk about what a blockchain stock is. Whenever a company touches anything that has the word blockchain on it, right? So anything that has anything to do with blockchain, they're going to put out some PR that says they're involved in the blockchain. And it might not mean anything, but just the actual word blockchain starts a run in these bad boys. Other times they might even say in the PRs, they're starting to use blockchain or some type of cryptocurrency technology in these. So in the morning, so like, for example, this is my charting software, right? So what they'll have is like a news feed. And one of the things that we're always kind of hunting for is just that word blockchain. But the thing that I'll do in the mornings, every single morning, is it's my trading platform up here. So everything I'll do in the morning is this. So in the morning, I run a scan for gappers. Does anybody know what gappers are? So essentially, your gappers are this. So gappers are stocks that are actually moving pre-market. So what I do is I use this program called Trade Ideas, right? So in the morning, I'll start hunting around. See, these are gaps. So essentially, these things are moving pre-market, okay? When they start moving pre-market, I look for anything that is plus 3% on the gap scan, right? So anything that's up plus 3% on the gap scan. And then it's just a matter of, okay, so you got to put these into your charting platform. Any one of these that starts to gap up, I will filter down one by one to see what's going on. So into your charting platform, whether you use TC2000 or, TradingView, whatever it might be, I think TC2000 for the stocks is the best. I mean, you can see it's kind of a little sexy platform. But one of the things I'll do is I'll input in, each single one, and I'll just kind of gloss over the PR. So I don't read the PRs or anything like that, right? I'm not a mathematician here. But what I'll make sure that I do is I'll start to read to see if they're using the word blockchain or cryptocurrency, because, well, any single company that even mentions the word cryptocurrency goes nuts, right? So, like, for example, this LFIN, we traded this, a couple weeks ago. This thing was sitting at $6, and they literally just put out a PR that says blockchain in it. Hey, we're in the cryptocurrency business, and I don't even think they are, because you can lie, right? All these people lie. Remember that the most crooked and smartest people in the history of the world, they all trade, right? And they're all crooks. So you got to always be mindful of these kind of companies. So they put out PR saying they're in the blockchain. This thing goes at $30. The next day it runs $150 on basically no news, right? Even the CEO said, well, I think our company's a little bit overpriced. Definitely not worth $150, and it came crashing back down. But it all started with a blockchain move. This company, LTEA, this stock had some news out. So it was sitting around at $2. Had some news out that they're also getting into the blockchain business. Now, this company, as you can see here, it says Long Island Iced Tea. So my guess is they're probably headquartered in New Jersey, and they make Long Island iced teas, right? They're not sitting there shredding this stuff in terms of actually making any kind of cryptocurrency. So just kind of something to be mindful of when you're looking at this stuff. It's all fake. It's all junk, but the stocks run. And that's all that matters, right? Is that we want to be able to make money on this. So every morning I go and look at the gappers, and then I'll input it in to see, do we have anything that may be saying the words blockchain or anything like that. Now, this program over here is called Trade Ideas. It gives you the gappers. Now, this thing costs $100 a month. So you definitely probably, for a lot of you guys, it's going to be way over budget in terms of really what you're trying to do, right? Because who the fuck would want to pay $100 a month, if they don't even know how to trade yet? So you can use this website, the stockmarketwatch.com. And now what you want to be doing here is, see this right here? Hit this button called pre-market. So guys, trading is all just about routine. So in the morning, you can go to stockmarketwatch.com, hit pre-market, and then once you scroll down. So what you're going to see here is top gaining stocks, top losing stocks, right? And so now what you'll start to see here is a whole host of stocks that are moving pre-market. It's not going to be as in-depth as something that you would see on Trade Ideas, because obviously Trade Ideas cost money and it's got filters. This is going to be, it's as good as it's going to be for something free, right? Anything trading free is going to be, unless it's something that I do, is going to be, you got to do what you got to do. So we want to start filtering through these. When you go through and you see these gappers, the first things that you want to do when they start to gap on those type of news, you want to start checking their daily charts, right? You want to start checking their daily chart to see if they're in a breakout. So the best ones out of these, they'll be just sitting around for a long time, and then the news will come out. And so you'll be in a chart breakout, right? So for those of you guys not familiar with chart breakouts, just email me. I can send you some beginner courses and stuff like that. That might be a little bit over your head if you're just brand new to this. But essentially, right, you're clearing levels of resistance that they hasn't been at. And if you get a clean chart, then that's when really the kind of momentum comes in on these bad boys. And that's when you can really, really start to get moving on this. So when we're looking at this stuff, there's a handful of things that we look at. So number one is chart breakout, right? So the first thing starts with a gap. Then check the PR, right? If you don't have TC2000, just go on a news site like the one I like is benzinga.com. Right? Yeah, you can use E-Trade Pro too. So you can go on benzinga.com. They've got all sorts of it's just a news feed, right? So you can type in a ticker and just see what the news is, right? So you can be like, okay, I got this riot, right? And I'll see, what's going on in this. And you'll be able to kind of check in for the news. I use the Benzinga Pro, but that costs money. So, use the free version and, you should be good to go. But Benzinga Pro, for those of you guys that are professional traders, Benzinga Pro is really, really good for news feeds. I use this all the time. You can type out any ticker and you'll have just, all the news pop up about that ticker and you'll be able to look quickly. The other thing that you'll be able to do on Benzinga, you ever watching the market or something, you're like, how the heck did the market just dump like that? Well, Benzinga is really good about catching the news really quick, being like, hey, Trump said he farted, boom, the market goes down, right? Trump says he's going to lay a blanket on Kim Jong's face, right? Market goes down. They get scared and it goes down. So Benzinga is really, really good about just finding that kind of news and letting you know right away. So program. First, go on and get your gappers. Plug in the chart, right, to see if it's a breakout. On your TC2000, you can add in a news feed if you want, right? So I just add mine into the corner. So on TC2000, you can do all sorts of stuff. So you can just add a little widget. Where is the widget? So you can come in and add widgets and stuff for your news, and that way you have it on everything, all right? And so now you're good to go. If you don't have it on TC2000, go on Benzinga, type in the news, see if there's something blockchain related, okay? Now, what you have is a ticker on your watch list, right? So now you got this ticker on your watch list. What are you going to do with it, right? That's always the question is, okay, so I put it on my watch list. Now, what do I do? You can't just buy it, right? So in trading, one of the things to really, really remember, guys, is in trading, you want to always be waiting for patterns, right? So you don't want to just go in and buy something just to buy something, okay? Because that doesn't work. Sometimes you have news out and it'll come straight down, right? And sometimes the news can be bad and it'll go straight up. It doesn't really matter what the news itself is. But what happens in trading is you've got to wait essentially for some type of pattern, right? And the reason that we trade around patterns and setups is that we want to always minimize risk, right? I want to make $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in a day, but I don't want to risk $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in a day because that just makes it a coin flip, right? I can go to the casino and do that. What I want to do is make $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, but I want to risk $500. Or I want to risk $1,000. Or if you're brand new, right? I want to make $200 in a day, but I want to risk $50. So the only way you can do that is by waiting for some type of setup to emerge, right? Some type of pattern. So like in our bootcamp classes and right when we do these YouTube lives every week, what are the patterns that we trade? We have a whole list of them, right? So we have flat top breakouts. We have flag breakouts. We have ORBs, quick pullback buys, so on and so forth, right? So we have a playbook of different patterns that we can use to enter a stock so that we catch it at the right time, but our risk is really, really minimized because when you have some stock and it gaps up, sometimes these things gap up 30, 40, 50%, right? So you're buying it after it's already moved 30, 40, 50%, but we need it to go up another 20, 30, 40, 50%. So the only way you can do that is by waiting for that inflection point, and that way we can really minimize our risk. So that's going to be really, really important when we're thinking about these things, right? So going back to it, scan for pre-market. Find the ones that have the gap. Look at the catalyst. See if there's blockchain in it. You can also use Google Finance or just put it in your damn search bar, whatever it is that you've got to do, right, to find that news. But a Benzinga is just an easy way to do it, okay? Once we get that gap, what we're going to start to do is look for some type of range to develop, and we're going to wait for a pattern, right? And so I'm going to give you a couple patterns that you can use right now to start getting into these bad boys and start shredding these things relatively quickly. One of the things to remember as a new trader, you're getting hit with all this stuff, right? You go on YouTube or you go and take these classes or whatever. You're always getting hit with stuff. As a new trader, if you can narrow down your approach to just a couple simple patterns and a couple simple routines that you do every day, it's going to help you grow a lot faster, but also build your account. Because one of the things to remember is like nobody starts to trade with, right, $1 million or $500,000 or even $100,000, right? Nobody's that lucky, right? We all got to start with a couple $1,000s, or we got to start with a few $1,000s, right? And then we've got to grow ourselves into it, right? I've never met a good trader in my life that's just gifted a big account. So you've got to grow your way to the big account. But in the beginning, what you want to do is have just reasonable expectations. If I have $2,000, I'm going to try to make $100 a day or $200 a day or $300 a day, whatever it might be. But I'm going to use just a handful of patterns to get in, because then they're easy to memorize. What ends up happening is if you try to trade too many strategies, right? So there's dozens of trading strategies. If you try to trade too many, you get information overload. It's a paralysis by analysis, right? And it's just like when you're doing your job at anything, right? The more you do it, obviously, the easier it gets. Well, if you have 30 strategies, it's hard to get the hundreds, if not thousands of repetitions you need to actually build expertise, to get competence. And so if you can narrow it down to a couple that you like, and then it's just repeat, practice. Well, now what you're starting to do is you're developing that kind of muscle memory, right? Anybody ever shoot a basketball or do something like that, right? It's a matter of repetitions. You know, in the beginning, it feels a little weird, right? It's like getting laid, right? It feels a little weird. And then over time, maybe you get good at it. Maybe you don't, but still fun. No, I'm just joking. But, you know, that's how we want to really, really get into this. So I'm going to show you just a couple ways. And then what you want to do is write all this stuff down. You build a routine around it. And then every morning, go out and start to practice a little bit at a time using that routine and then spotting the patterns. From there, what you can do is they have simulators, right? Trading simulators that look like actual platforms. So go on a trading simulator like TC2000 has one. TradingView has a free one. You go on there and you start practice trading. Okay, I found the stock. Now I found the pattern. Now this is how I'm going to enter. This is how I'm going to manage my risk, right? And then every day, repeat it. Do it for a month or so, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to be getting a little bit better. And once you get good on the simulator and you're consistent with your profits, then it's okay. I think I'm going to put in a few $1,000s or $5,000 or whatever it might be, $2,000, and I'm going to try to trade small, right? I'm going to learn to try to make $100 a day, and then we'll start to build on top of it. All right, so let's just go into a couple easy-go-lucky ways that I think you guys can start practicing this stuff. So what we want to be doing is hunting for those gappers. So let's work out the morning routine real quick, all right? So I'll be on the trade ideas. Remember, if you don't have trade ideas, you're going to be using the stock market watch, all right? From there, we're going to be hunting on these things, and I'm just going to I have 4 monitors, by the way. That's why I'm always dragging everything around. So I'm going in here now, one by one, I'm literally inputting in the tickers, all right? And from there, it's now a matter of making sure I've got the right ones. So one of the things to start doing is start to input them in. So, for example, I'll show you a very easy pattern. So this LFIN shows up as a breakout, right? So this thing shows up as a breakout on this particular day. So one of the things to really, really kind of be mindful of with this is, all right, so what do we do? So it shows up on the gap. Now, how do we get into it, right? So this particular day, it starts to move, okay? So it starts to move. So one of the easiest ways and the simplest patterns to do when you have something that has momentum is to trade a flag, right? So what exactly is it? What are the rules of a flag pattern? Anybody know? Give me the rundown. So what are some simple things that we want to do when we're looking at essentially a flag pattern? Good. So a couple things that we want to do when we have a flag pattern. So the stock's going to gap up. So I use a daily chart on my left and 5-minute charts on my right. That's always been my nature. I think that's really the kind of the easiest way to really get to trading, right? So put your daily charts on your left, and then we want to be putting in our 5-minute charts on the right. Easy enough. So now, once we have that, now it's a matter of waiting, right? It's a matter of waiting for some type of pattern to show so that we can enter it in. So as I'm watching, right, I'm waiting for a handful of things, right? A handful of things that we can do right at the open. So my favorite type of trade that I can do at the open is an opening range breakout, right? Does anybody know what an opening range breakout is? What are the rules of opening range breakout? Good, 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 good. Okay, so let's write these down. So opening range breakout. I'll give you some handful of rules here. The rules of opening range breakout. Number one, scan for gappers. Easy enough. Plus 3% or more. I want to see 3% or more gap. Easy enough, right? Now, from there, what do we do? Right? So once I have the gap, I want to check the daily chart. Ooh. 3. Get the PR. And by the way, you can do this pattern with it, whether it's a blockchain or it's not. It doesn't matter. You can use this pattern for everything. All right. So I wouldn't worry too much. Like, does it say blockchain or this or that? A good pattern is going to be a good pattern. Oh, put on watch list, right? So you're going to put this on your watch list, right? Watch the chart. You want to have daily on left, 5-minute on right. All right, so that's your kind of routine on this. Now, what do you need to see for the actual 5-minute pattern? Right, so this is going to be very, very specific to the actual whatever's going down. So now, what we need to do is hunt, right? So we're going to start hunting for this thing and get this thing going. So now what we've got here is just a simple little thing. So stock opens up. We need 3-candle range at the beginning. 3-candle range minimum. So what's going to essentially happen is you're going to gap up and you're going to go sideways for 3 candles. Easy enough. The reason that this is important, guys, is for a very, very specific reason. That if you don't wait for 3 candles, you may just pop up and die right away. All right? You may just pop up and die right away. So if you can build out a range, it's going to make your job a lot easier. Really a lot easier. So that's going to be really, really important for us is, we need to really build out that range. So now we've got 3 candles sideways movement. Now we can buy break of 3rd candle, stop below, lower range. All right? The farther you are from your 9 EMA, the more dangerous the play is. Meaning if you're too far from your 9 EMA on your daily charts, what's going to happen is the plays get really, really choppy. So on your intraday charts, guys, add your 9 EMA, 20 EMA, and VWAP. So this might be a little bit over your head if you're not into, you haven't been trading yet. So remember, you can just always email me and ask me questions on that. But you need a 920 EMA and a VWAP on your 5-minute chart. Because that 9 EMA is your closest moving average, right? So when you have the closest move, it's your closest moving average, what it's going to do is if you're too far away, now what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to really manage your risk. And so you end up getting just shredded because you're buying it way too high. So I always look at the 9 EMA to kind of come up right up under it. And that makes things it settles the pattern quite a bit. So now let's take a look at this bad boy. Right? So this is LFIN. This is the trade we did in LFIN. So LFIN gaps up. Right? So you get this gap up. And notice how you kind of pull back to the 9 EMA here. So you got 1 candle, 2 candle, 3 candles of range here, right? So when you come and you break out of this zone right here, you can buy this and you're going to put your stop right under the 9 EMA, right? Because now you're going to break opening range. Now I like to draw a little bit of a trend line right here to get into this, to minimize my risk and help me for timing purposes. So that's going to be actually really important, right? Is to draw a little trend line. So you can see here, you're just building a range. The whole point of calling it opening range is, Hans, I'll make sure to add it in here. So the whole point of calling the opening range is because it's actually an opening range. So just kind of something to just keep mind of. So as this thing breaks, we're going to buy, put our stop under. Now, this is a $10 stock, right? You can go in 400, 500 shares, whatever you might need, whatever, depending on your account size. And now you are literally off to the races. So as this thing starts to shred, right, this is just day trading. What I like to do is once I cover my risk, say 3 or 4 times, meaning if I'm going to risk $1, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be trying to sell once I make at least 2 or 3. I'm going to at least start looking to sell, potentially get out of this thing, right? And so we're going to start scaling out of this thing, and then we'll trail up our stop loss along the 9 EMA and kind of ride this thing as they go. So now you can see with this LFIN, this thing just went, berserko style on this day. So it's at 25 bucks. So what ends up happening is the very next day, you're not even going to believe this, it gapped up again to close at 25, and the very, very next day, it gapped up again. So the next day, it gaps up again, and so it shows up on my gapper list, and it's a matter of literally watching it for that same type of pattern again. So if you're going in, let me go back to that day. There it is. Dun, 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 dun. So what do you see here? So this is a 2-day run in this bad boy, right? So the first day, right, we get the gap up. We hit the opening range breakout. Stop goes under 9 EMA. You get yourself a nice little run. Now, mind you guys, I mean, you can buy 300, 400, 500 shares of this thing. You can make thousands, right? That's the nature of trading, is if you trade the right stocks. Listen, we're not trading granny stocks, right? We're not buying Microsoft or General Electric, right? We're not in our coffins just yet. We're in this game for hot heat. And so that's always something to remember. How you know if something has hot heat, right? Always check the floats on these. The float is your number of outstanding shares. When you have something that's a low float, what ends up happening is you can have a really, really intense move, okay? And so when we have this, we can take this ORB, stop under, and we can get those big-time moves. Now, the second part is the next day, you can do the same thing, right? So the next day, it gapped up again. You can see this thing gapped up right up over here. Now, this is where things got a little tricky. So you can see in this thing, I actually added right here when the opening range breakout. See when the opening range breakout, when it busted over here? Now, I ended up taking a loss on this. See how it tried to peak out and then it came back down. What was missing on this trade? Like why it didn't work this particular time? When I'm going back through my trades, it's like I'm literally just punching myself in the face because I made a mistake. And the mistake was this. Look how far my 9 EMAs. If I'm buying at 41 and my 9 EMAs at 34, that's a lot of risk, right? See the previous day, look how tight your pattern was, right? So you have a nice, easy, tight pattern. But in this one, my pattern was really loosey-goosey. In trading, guys, if you have a loose pattern, then you have a lot of risk. A loose pattern means a lot of risk. So this thing ended up busting down right back down to its 9 EMA. The pattern was just so loose. So what ended up happening, and this is common, no matter how much money you make in your life, this will always happen. I had dollar signs in my eyes. I knew this thing was going to go. And so I had dollar signs in my eyes. Anybody do that? I was spending the money before I'd even made it, right? And that's always the big no-no. I mean, I was just looking in my head like, fuck, man, I'm really going to shred this thing, and it's going to be a party. And so I added too early. I broke my rules. I didn't let that 9 EMA come up and protect my risk. And so I ended up losing. I ended up losing like $1,800 on this thing because I broke my rules. Now, the beauty of trading is that you always get a second chance, right? So you can see what starts to happen. It starts to go sideways, 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 sideways. Remember, your opening range is minimum 3 candles, right? It could be 10 candles, right? It's going to be in that first hour. So as this thing starts to go, comes back down, pops up. What do you start to see here? This red line's your 9 EMA. What you got going on here? Curls for the girls, right? We're curling up right up under this thing. So now what you have here is a really tight pattern. So see, now you've developed this opening range. You're testing this, testing that level of resistance. You are beating down that door, right? Every time you test a level, that area gets more powerful. That area gets more powerful. Will, I don't know why it's a magic line. It just is what it is. You try and test something, and if it works, it works. If it don't, it don't, right? But it's also your shortest term moving average, so just let you tighten up that range. So now we got loosey range, but now your range starts to really tighten. Guys, in trading, when your range tightens, like when you have something that's a loose range and it starts to really, really tighten, when it starts to tighten up like that, that's a sign of explosion. When you have a loose range that really starts to tighten up, that is a sign of explosion. And when you have your 9 EMA coming up under it, you know exactly where to put your stop loss. And that's huge, right? We always need to know that. The most important part of trading is not where you just buy, But where do we put our stop loss? Meaning if it goes against us, we can get out. So see here when I'm buying, my 9 EMA's $7 away. That's a little bit wild, right? But when I rebought this thing at 41, my stop loss was, well, I bought it at 42.50, 42-ish. My stop loss at 40.13, that is a really tight range. So now all of a sudden, I have the ability to do what? I've got the unique ability now to really minimize my risk and go in full size. So now as this breaks, and I'm always in a little bit before the break because these things move really fast, my stop goes right under that 9 EMA. And now we're off to the races. And because this thing just mentioned the word blockchain, it was, now this is where I screwed up. When this thing went from 40 to 60s, I sold my last shares at 66. And I never in my life thought this thing could just keep going. And it kept going and going and going and going and going. So I always scale out, right? So my first chunk into the 50 spot, and I kept selling off 50 shares at a time. And then I got nervous because, you know, at right now in hindsight, like it doesn't look like it's that extended, right? But, you know, when you're actually in the trade and it looks more like this, I was like, holy shit, pun intended, right? This thing is getting loose, right? It's getting a little bit wild. I mean, now you got to think it closed at 24 at 68, right? It's up 300% in, right, a handful of hours. And it just kept going and going. And I had some regrets because I basically left right up. I mean, I left tens of thousands of dollars on the table, but that is still pretty cool. It is still pretty cool what you can do with these bad boys. So very, very similar stuff. So now, boom, 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 boom. Now, that same day, right, you'll have a whole host of other things going. So when these things start to really shred, guys, what you'll see here is a whole host of these other ones will start to go too. So one of the things that I always look for is Sympathy plays. If this one ticker that says the word block in it is going, what's the rest of the stuff doing? Right? Where else can, you know, are there any other stocks that are also moving along with this? And so that becomes really, really important when you're looking at this bad boy. And they tend to run in packs. Now, remember, you don't have to do this with just blockchain stocks, right? You can do this with any kind of stock possible. Same type of deal. So check this out. So this is NETE. Let me go grab my charts. Hold on. So NET is another company that has very, very similar tactics. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. Where did this bad boy go? Hold on here. That's the one I was looking for. All right. So now let's take a look at this. You can do this kind of tactic with almost anything. So Watt, same type of deal. So check this out later in the day. So this is not an opening range breakout. So see this? Like what you gapped up from $8 to $18, right? You gapped up $8, $18. But can you buy this at the open here? Can anybody know this? Could you buy this if you wanted to at the open? No. And the reason you can't is, what do you need for an opening range breakout? What do you need for an opening range breakout? Well, it's got to gap up, and you need 3 sideways candles near the highs, right? So it just doesn't even come. So you've got to leave it alone. But what you'll often see with these, if they don't open, if they don't break at the open, right, and you don't get your 3 candles sideways and you get your pattern, if they don't break at the open, what you'll see is they break a little bit towards the end of the day. Oh, thank you, name suppress. 132, baby. Good, good, good. So if they don't break at the open, what you'll start to see is they'll consolidate for the rest of the day. This was at 850, it gapped up to 18. Maybe it's just tired, right? Whatever. Stocks are like people, man. Sometimes they just got to take a breather. So you get this sitting around all day. But what will happen, and you want to do this is called a day-long consolidation play. So same rules apply, but this usually will happen after lunch. What you'll end up happening is, if you start to go sideways towards lunchtime, whoa, where'd it go? There it is. So if you start to go sideways towards lunchtime, so that's your noon clock, when you finally start to come out of range, right? So what you essentially want to do is just, I always use the VWAP as kind of my indicator. So if you start to just sit around all day, notice how like you're stuck under the VWAP for just hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, right? So towards the end of the day, if you start to creep over that VWAP area, because the VWAP's acting as a lid, what'll essentially happen is once you bust loose out of it over that VWAP and you start to break towards your highs, see when you finally break your opening range? So your high of the day is here. When you finally break over your opening range, if you do it into the afternoon, you can be off to the races too. So you can add this thing in the 16, 17 area towards the end of the day if you don't get your opening range breakout. So you've got to really kind of be mindful of that. You know, you may not get the opening range. That's okay. Just wait for it because you'll get a pattern later. At some point, it'll consolidate and you'll get that 9 EMA come up right up under the breakout. That's always the key, guys, to understanding when the breakout is going to happen. When your range, see how you got a loose range? When your range starts to compress, that's what builds power. Compression. The tightening of range is what builds power and allows that pressure cooker really get into a stock, and that's when you can go out and really start to shred. So once you bust loose, you can buy, set your stop, races again. These things, their float is low enough. So if you check the float, like on these guys, I just keep a float parameter right over here. Float means, what float means is it's the number of outstanding shares that can be traded on the open market. So if you have a stock that has, say, 40 million shares in volume, and there's only 18 million shares available, what's going to happen? Well, what happens is if you have 40 million in volume, there's only 18 million available, then everybody's competing against, there's only 18 million shares that can be bought. So if everybody wants some shares, they can't even get it. So people start competing over it, and then it's off to the races. So just kind of something to really be mindful of. Watch that float area. No float. None of these will even have shorts in them because the floats are way too low. So none of these are going to have shorts in them. They're impossible to even get shorts. Now, I don't know, man. I have the ability to get shorts for almost anything, and I could not get shorts in these bad boys. So who knows? Same type of deal, right? Stock gets up. If it opening range, if you don't get the opening range breakout, just wait. Right? Wait for the consolidation. When you bust over that VWAP, you break your trend lines, you can take this thing back to the upside. It's a very, very simple way to kind of get into these things. I have 18 different patterns I use, but these are probably the two of the simpler ones when you're really talking about, trading. Same type of deal. So this is Riot. So Riot is a blockchain stock too. Now Riot used to be a biotech company, so they don't even do any blockchain. They used to be a biotech company. They've changed their name. So since I've been trading, this company, Riot, has changed their name a dozen times. I mean, they will change their name just for the sake of pumping it. So, for example, if you get freaking bird flu come out in the next year, if you got something that says bird flu is an epidemic, what Riot will do is they'll say, fuck being a blockchain. We're now the #1 bird flu company out there, right? And they'll put out a PR. They'll just change their name, say they're doing bird flu medicine, and next thing you know, they'll be off to the races. Same type of deal here, right? So this is just a very, very simple pattern. Boom, push up. And then what do? What are our options? Come on, baby. You guys got this. What are our options? Yeah. Good, 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 good. So check this out. That was the 18th, right? Backfill. Hold on one second. Let me backfill this thing. There it is. So check this out. Dun, 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 dun. My guys made me all these slides and I've just tossed them all. Cool. Check this out. So this is an epic day. So same type of deal here. So see how you get this gap up? So this thing had a PR out, so you get this gap up. You can use FinViz if you want, Hack. So you got this gap up, but no opening range here, right? That's okay. So if it doesn't happen at the open, you just wait, right? Wait towards that lunchtime for that consolidation to start to set up. And then when you break out of that consolidation zone, now what you can do is you can start shredding this thing to the upside. The key is as it breaks, you want to see that 9 EMA coming up right up under it, pushing it higher, right? So as it busts loose, you're going to buy, put your stop right under the 9 EMA. So in this particular case, you're going to risk about 50 cents, which is not much, right? If you're going to have 1,000 shares of this bad boy and you're risking 50 cents, that's about $500 for the potential to make, right, thousands. As this thing pops up, right, I'm always scaling out of some. My method is always, I'm Indian, right? Indian people are cheap. You ever go hang out with an Indian person? He never helps pay the tab, and they don't tip. We're cheap people. Now, I do, but I'm just saying in general. We're Indians are cheap. So I always take off profit. So into your spikes, sell half, and then I'll just sell out 1/3, and I'll keep a few for the lotto. Now, the beauty of trading is this. Because you have one pattern that you made $3 or $4 on, does not mean that the play is over. What we're going to be doing is stalking this thing for additional entries, right? And so as this thing starts to consolidate sideways, what are we looking for? Test of resistance. Second test of resistance. Third test of resistance. 9 EMA curls up, curls for the girls right up under it. You're going to rebuy this bad boy. Stop goes right under. And then you're back off shredding to the upside. You can use Thinkorswim too, guys. All the charts are pretty similar. So I definitely wouldn't mind you guys using Thinkorswim too. You don't have to use TC 2000. These are stocks, baby. Jumanji. These are stocks that are crypto related. We do our crypto webinars on Wednesdays, 4 p.m. or 5 p.m., I think. So, right? Test, test, test. Stop goes up under, and now you're off to the races. That's a very, very clean and easy setup, guys, that can net you a lot of money if you play them right. Nah, I'm just messing with you, Jumanji. That's what I do. That's what I do. And you can do that same pattern even in cryptocurrencies, by the way, guys. It doesn't have to be just in the stock market, right? You can use that type of pattern really anywhere. So the tenets of all trading is really the same kind of stuff. So like you can see, like we're in this ADA here. And like I told you, at one point I had friggin' 50,000 shares of this bad boy. Same type of deal, right? So when you have something that's trending, right, wait for a range to develop. Wait for that 9 EMA. So on my trading view, your 9 EMA is your light blue, right? Wait for that 9 EMA to curl up right up under it. And then you can take this thing, right? You buy 10, 15,000 shares, 2,000 shares, whatever it might be. You're going to grow this thing piece by piece. Most of my good students, even in cryptos, they started with just a few $1,000 bucks. So that's the beauty of trading is you don't have to have a crazy amount of capital. You just got to really work your butt off because this stuff is hard. I will say this. It looks easy, right? It is easy. It fucking is for me. But it's harder than it looks at times, and I'll tell you why. So trading itself is really, really simple, right? You have a handful of patterns you do. You buy, you set your stop, let it rock, right? Not even a big deal. I need a little more colorful hat here. Right? So that part is easy. It's the actual getting your fingers to do what you're supposed to do that's hard. Right? Anybody ever smoke a cigarette? Do some drugs? Cheat on your wife? Do something stupid? We all do it, right? Oftentimes we do stuff that we know we're not supposed to do, and we fucking do it anyways. Right? Anybody ever eat a little too much pizza? That ain't good for you either. Trading is the same way. Oftentimes, you know what you're supposed to be doing. But what ends up happening is when the money's on the line, and your fucking wife is like, you better not be doing that trading thing again. Go play with the children, right? All of a sudden, you're a little stressed out. And you know what you're supposed to do with your buttons. Right? And that's the hard part about trading is, how do you get to the point where you do what you're supposed to do, right? It seems so easy, but that's where the discipline of just life comes in. And that's why like a lot of like what we do and I teach my students in boot camp is really about structuring your day and having routines, because when you have a set routine and you can move without thought, right? Then all of a sudden, you're just trading, right? Like if you ever watch me trade. So in the mornings, for all our boot camp students and just my chat room in general, I'm on screen share. And I have my trading platform up and, my charts and all that stuff. And one of the things, like people have trouble even keeping up. They're like, what's going on? Like, how did that even happen? And it's like, I don't know. I'm just doing it. Right? I'm not even thinking about it. I mean, we listen to Cher. I mean, today was a country music day. So we were listening to like 80s country music, like Alan Jackson and just, all sorts of weird shit. And then some days, we have Latin Day and all sorts of stuff. So I'm just listening to music all day, right? Just shredding and doing my thing. I can get to that point because structure, routines, and then just repetitions. And so that's where we've got to get you guys. If you're having trouble with your trading, it's not necessarily because you don't know how to trade or it's too hard. Oftentimes we just have that kind of paralysis by analysis that happens, and you all of a sudden forget what you know. You may know a lot, but you forget what you know, right? And that's how trading is, right? All talent is like that. Can you summon it at will, right? Can you summon your talent when you actually need it versus you know, like, hey, I'm reading my textbook and I'm like writing my notes, and all of a sudden you can do that. Some of the best traders I've ever seen on like simulator have been like the worst traders I've seen live. I have a student of mine right now, like that I work with. I'm like, look at his simulator trades. He sent me his trade today, and I'm like, are you even the same person? And he's like, I don't know. All right. I'm like, what are you doing? You know, and that's why it can be a little bit tricky, but that's where I'm there for you guys, right? And that's where, having a good team and a good community and all that is really, really important. Is just you've got to have that aspect of things. So just something to kind of just keep mental note of when you're thinking about your trading is, you know, if you can structure things down, you know, into routines, you're really, really going to have some nice, easy, go lucky just moments, you know, where you can really take these. So same type of deal. So look at this G cap, same type of deal. See how you got that spike at the open? You never made your ORB here, right? Where your opening range breakout. So if that doesn't happen, you've got to wait into the afternoon, and that's when they'll usually start to go. You know, always just kind of two different ways to start looking at these things. But the ORB is a very, very powerful pattern, right? And I don't like trading into the afternoon, so I miss a lot of times like the end of day stuff, because you'll never even see me at the computer past the first hour or two. You know, so same type of deal. See how you got this gap up? 1, 2, 3, fourth candle, you break range, and then you're off to the races. ORB is a very, very simple pattern, right? Same type of deal. So this is Roku. Who fucking knew that people even bought Roku boxes anymore, right? So check this out. So Roku's breaking out on its daily. Now check this. You got the gap up, 1 candle, 2 candle, 3rd candle it breaks. You got your 9 EMA right here. So your range is really, really tight. That's perfect, right? That's where we want to get with this thing. Now you're going to buy, set your stop, and now you're off shredding the rest of the day. And over the day, you'll see other patterns, right? You can trade these flags in different pullbacks. I trade 18 different patterns, but what I'm trying to do is show you a couple simple ones that you guys will be able to start using, you know, relatively quickly. And you can use these, by the way, on biotech stocks. You can use these on blockchain stocks, same type of deal. This is a trade we just did the other day in VRX. See how you got this gap up right here? You got this gap up. You thrust it at the open. And see this? 1, 2, 3. Tight range here. You want to have easily definable lines when you're looking at this stuff. That's going to be one of the most important things that you do is, do I have something that's definable, right? Can I see the levels really, really easily? Because that's what we need to get into is we've got to be able to see these things. Buy, set your stop under the 9 EMA, and now you're off to the shred zone. Dun, 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 dun. Now let's get to this contest, all right? And guys, by the way, I mean, you can have, you know, I post my P&L for my guys like every single day, you know, as I'm trading in front of them. I mean, when you're trading this kind of momentum setups and stuff, I mean, you'll make as much money as you really feel like some days. You know, it's more a matter of just, you know, waiting for your patterns and really, really being able to just shred these things. So I keep some of these names on your watch list, as these are some of the blockchain stocks that are actually really moving right now that you're going to need. So NETE, LFIN, Watt, GCAP, Riot, OSTK, DPW, and the last one is MSR to the PP. Right? So those are kind of your main ones going. Always remember with these things will dump out of nowhere. So there's a big difference between cryptocurrencies and crypto stocks. And this is very, very important. Cryptocurrencies are in big trends. They're in big trends and they're here to stay, right? Cryptocurrencies are in monstrous trends. That's the nature of the game. Cryptocurrency stocks are all fake, right? You're a Long Island iced tea and you put in that you're doing blockchain, you're going to come down. So these are just trading vehicles, right? I don't hold these things overnight. I don't do any of that stuff because they all come crashing back down. You know, see this thing? Then a buck goes to 10 and then all the way back down. So that's the difference between cryptocurrency and blockchain stocks, though. Cryptocurrencies are nice trends. We hold these for days and months sometimes. I'm looking for big long-term moves, you know, and I day trade them too. Cryptocurrency stocks are terms. They are terms. And so don't hold these things too long. Remember to always take profits. Oh, one of my little coworkers put some funny little graphics in. Woo-hoo, don't be like these people. And then bam. All right. So, Eric, you got the contest winner. Now, guys, if you're looking for a more advanced programs, remember I have 18 patterns I trade. Long-term trading, short-term trading, day trading, swing trading, crypto, stocks, the works, right? So we have our trading boot camp starting on January 9th. That would be on a Tuesday, I believe. I know a lot of you guys are already in this thing. I'm very excited to see some of you goofballs in there. But let's talk a little bit about what the boot camp does. So our classes are live. Now, remember with trading, guys, if you're going to try to learn trading via some videos or some damn DVD, you lost your mind. Remember that trading is a job. It is no different than learning how to be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, an engineer. Anything that you do, trading is no different, right? It's a job. And so you've got to learn live, right? You need mentorship in terms of that. So we do 28 live classes over the course of 2 months, okay? 4 days a week, 8 p.m. Now, every single class is recorded and archived and all that fun stuff on the website. So, you know, if you miss class, it doesn't really matter. Now, my students have access to taking boot camp class for life. So they, you know, you can watch boot camps from, 3-4 years ago, but our students can retake class as many times as they want. For people that have jobs or they're overseas or whatever it might be, every single class is recorded, it's archived, and you have it for life, okay? So that's the beginning of it. Now, I start everybody off at the dead beginning. So if you've never traded before in your life, that's perfect. It's actually easier to teach somebody that's never traded before or knows very little than somebody that's been trading for 10 years and has got all sorts of bad habits and probably addicted to Xanax, right? So beginners also. Now, I've built this course in a university-style setting. So, every day, every class, we have Q&A. There are quizzes, homework, market recaps, the works, okay? So how we do our trading is, this is the good stuff. So while you're in class, I give everybody access to our chat room. So I go on GoToWebinar every single day, and I trade in front of everybody live. So you have my trading platform up, so I'm teaching live. So one of the things that I believe, and that where most people have trouble learning, is they watch videos, right? So they find some mentor, they watch a bunch of videos, and they're like, okay, I'm ready to trade. But there's always a disconnect. How do you go from something that's in a book, right? So where it's static, it's not moving. How do you go from there to something that's live? in terms of you being live, right? How can you trade live? Because when things are moving around in real time, it's a whole different ballgame, right? Than when you're just looking at somebody's damn slides. So what I do is I trade in front of everybody every single day. So I have my platform up and we trade. And I call out the plays. Hey, I'm doing this. I'm selling this. Blah 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 blah. Right? Then I'll post my P&L. With a snapshot of either what I've made or lost. And right today was kind of flat day, $4 Look, right? Not much going, but that's okay. So that's where the real excitement comes in. So as this is going on, when our live classes end, I start doing trade recaps. So what market recaps are is essentially we go through step by step every single trade that I took. Why did I buy this? Why did I sell? How many shares did I buy? How come I made or lost money? And what we start to do is reverse engineer the trades so that you guys can start to see what I was seeing. Now, remind you, I'm still trading live in front of you all day too. So you're learning live. Then at the end of the day, we'll recap everything so that you can really ingrain it into your brain. From there, we put our students on trading simulators. So we go in and we use programs like TC2000 where you guys start trading paper money, right? And so we'll come in and, we'll build out a simulator platform and you'll be sitting here buying and selling this. Never heard of him, NASDAQ. So we'll come in and buy and sell this. But trading simulator is going to be really, really the most important thing. Our students work on business plans. So if you think about all business, I'm just kidding, NASDAQ. He's actually one of my students. Ask him. So I'm the godfather of trading, man. Everybody was my student at some point. I had a full head of hair when I started this. So as we're going, we have our students make out trading plans. What type of trader do they want to be? Right? What's their business plan, their risk management principles? What are the setups what are the setups you're going to trade? And then we've got a private community where you can chit chat with our students and all that fun stuff. And, you have access to our chat room. So guys, that is the way you got to go. By the way, this takes 60 days. Trading cannot be learned in even 60 days. Trading cannot be learned in even 60 days. Okay? This is going to be a 6-month process. When you think about trading, you may get the mechanics down in 60 days. You'll understand the chart patterns. You might even be able to make some money. But to get good, meaning can you move without thought, that could be a longer process. For some people, it could be 6 months. Some people could be a year. Some people spend years and they still suck. And everybody's a little bit different. The beauty of trading is that you have total control over how sucky you are, right? Like I'm hard-headed. So it took me multiple years to learn how to trade. Now, I tried on my own. So when I started trading, there were no blogs. People were using AOL Instant Messenger to chat with each other. Yahoo Finance was the only website out there even to trade. MSN Money was the hot website at the time. There was this crazy guy with the mustache, Jim Juback, who used to write all the articles. And that's where people would go to actually learn how to trade, right? And there wasn't really no day trading per se. People were doing it, but there was no actual mechanics of it. So I struggled for years. When I met my mentor, Paul, who works for us at Bulls on Wall Street now, he does our part trader section, and he teaches class in his boot camp too. From there, it took me like 6 months to really get going. Now, I had some wealth of knowledge before that, but I wasn't any good, right? I sucked. And so I went with Paul, and Paul taught me a lot of things, and that's when I started to get my groove. So the process is never linear. It's more like, right? I looked like Bradley Cooper when I first started trading, and now here we are, right? And so that's where trading can go. Now, the beauty of it is this. I made all the mistakes in the beginning that you could ever think of. I'm a gambler. I was hungover half the time, being in my early 20s. I was doing all sorts of stupid stuff. I doubled down on losers. I had ego. I had this. I had that. And I paid the price. It was only when I started to put a structure around things like we do in the boot camp, where it's routine-based, pattern-based, rules for every single thing, and then it's repeat and rinse. That's when I was able to get good. And now I'm really good. And that's probably the best thing about trading is I'm actually a good trader, right? And so when you're watching me trade, you'll see it like I see all the angles because I have made 100,000 day trades in my life. 100,000. So I see all the angles. So as I'm walking you through this stuff, you're going to start seeing the angles that I do. But what I do is I make it very, very simple. See, what I do is I make trading like a cookbook, right? You ever go inside a cookbook? Inside your cookbook, you have a recipe for baking a cake. So when you look at a cookbook and you want to bake a cake, what does it show? Step by step how to bake that cake, right? And it's very specific. 2 pinches of this, right? 4 tablespoons of this. Beat them eggs, put it in the oven, preheat it, 22 minutes, this temperature. But it's very, very specific. Now, what happens if you miss pieces of that recipe? Your cake is not cake anymore, right? It's something else. And so in trading, it's the same thing. There could be 20 different ingredients and steps to have a hot trade, but if you're missing 1 or 2, your trade goes kaput. But the beauty is when you bake that cake from a recipe and say you do it 10, 20 times, do you need that cookbook anymore? No. Once you bake a chocolate cake 10 times, you're not opening up that cookbook anymore. Now, sure, as you get better and you're not even using the cookbook, you make adjustments to fit your style and your taste, your tongue, right? So you're like, I'm going to use a little bit less this. I'm going to use a little bit more of this. I'm going to be doing a little bit of this. And now you're going to start to build your flavor. And in trading, it's the same way. Once you have the recipe and you're good, you'll start to make adjustments depending on your style and personality and your taste as you get more experience. But that's how I want you to think of every single pattern. So, whether you're learning with me or somebody else, right? Think of every pattern as a recipe in a cookbook. So your flag breakouts is one recipe. Your flat top breakouts is one recipe, right? Your quick pullback buys is one recipe. Your ORBs are one recipe. And all together, you have a cookbook, and that's your trading style. And that's what we build in class. And that's how you can make trading something that's learnable, but also simplified. Because otherwise, all you're hearing is the news, algos, this, computers, this, blah, 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 this. But if you simplify it down into very, very specific recipes that you're going to learn, memorize, practice, and then make adjustments as you gain experience, well, now you're ready to go. So just kind of something to really keep mind of is, we've got to be in the business of constantly building and, having repetitions. That's why everybody gets lifetime access. So some of the students you see and you're like, Mr. Kipperman, he's been with me now for 5 years. So he's been with me for 5 years. He still comes in my webinars and says, hi. And that's actually pretty cool right now. So lifetime access to all that fun stuff. And guys, if you need to talk to people that have taken our class, some of our good students, I have thousands upon thousands of students. I'll give you their names, their numbers. You can harass them and go for it like that. So winner of the contest is, hey, we don't even have a winner in this. Oh, I got to delete this to reveal. Man, Eric is good with these slides. Eric, I don't got no winner. Oh, I got you. Jacqueline Perry. Jacqueline Perry, there you go. Boom, 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 boom. Jacqueline, you even in here? If you're not even in here, this is going to be a little bit tricky to do. do this for. But email Eric, the oil lord, at, I don't even know his email here, but Eric. Here, you can email the oil lord at eric@bullsbootcamp.ws, and he will. Now, for any of you enterprising people, dude, I would pretend like I was the contest winner. And frankly, I'd email Eric anyways and be like, I'm the contest winner. He might not even know. That's what I would do, though. So let's open this thing up to some questions. And guys, if you have any questions, by the way, you can always just email me myself, too. If you ever want to just chat stocks, you can email me or text me. That's my cell, so I FaceTime a lot. So try not to abuse the privilege unless you want to FaceTime in the middle of the night. But I love a little FaceTime. So, guys, open this thing up to some questions, and we'll get this pate started. Hey, Daniel, what's up, baby? So a lot of people have been asking me about crypto brokers. I primarily use GDAX, a combo of GDAX, Bittrex. So I use GDAX, I use Bittrex, and then I use Binance. I keep most money at GDAX because they're the safest. I keep like 100, 200 at Bittrex, and then, same at Binance. And then, you're ready to go. You don't need too much going on. I think Binance has probably the best out of the platforms. They've got, the most like kind of web-based 2.0, they've got a desktop platform, all that fun stuff too. But I think they're going to be the best out of that group. Man, this ETH is hot. Anybody in this thing or what? Check that out. Test. 90 EMA. Curls for the girls right up under it. Boom. Hot damn. Yeah, so Binance, I think has they have the best selection and the cheapest commissions. So best thing you could do if you're building a small account. So a lot of people start off with small accounts. If you go with the smaller account, I'd find like one pattern that you can just use and hunt for over and over and keep it really, really simplified. There may be days you don't take any trades, right? Because what you're doing is find a powerful setup, something that's got the juice, and then really sit there and just hunt for that specific pattern. And if you don't take it, then don't do it, right? So it's like no pattern, no trade. No glove, no love. Unless you're in a committed, semi-committed relationship. B&B, yep. What else? No changing styles. There's no recording. Guys should hold up one of them fucking signs with the date. That's the people that do those, hey, I'm coming to my free masterclass or recording webinars. Those people are all scammers. If you ever see anybody do a recorded webinar, run for the hills. Those people don't trade. A man of honor wouldn't show you his life's work on a fucking recording pretending like it's real. You know what I mean? What else? Remember that for the rest of your life. You go into anybody's recorded webinar, you're asking questions, you're like, man, this looks a little this looks a little set up, staged. Run and ask for a refund back. Hey, Josh, go fuck yourself. That's why. Hey, Ken Thomas, what's going on? Yeah, you can short cryptos. And Josh, I'm just messing with you. I like yelling, though. Oh, man. You see what's going on? I love you guys. I get a little excited at night. But I'm a yeller. You know who sucks? Soft talkers. Can't trust a single soft talker. If your mentor's a soft talker, run for the hills. He doesn't have the balls to teach you. Sometimes life is all about putting your balls on the kitchen table while speed chopping carrots. Yeah. I can't turn my mic down. You know what? I'm not big into shorting. I short in bear markets, or I short gap down plays, but I do not short high flyers. This market's too strong. I've doubled my money in crypto. Should I get out or hold on? So, Mr. Entertainment, always take some profits, scale out, and then, you got to pay yourself. One of the things about trading, guys, is we're in the game to pay ourselves, right? So don't just let that money just sit up and compile into your crypto accounts. I keep taking money out, right? I would keep taking money out. Like, I won't leave all my money in those accounts forever. Like, you don't know anything. We don't know anything about these brokers. So, always be careful. Hey, LTC. So let's take a look at the chart for LTC, brother. Let's take a look, my friend. All right. Hold on, man. I got so many damn windows open. There we go. LTC. So I'm actually watching LTC here too. So one thing I noticed about LTC is that it's the only one out of all these cryptos that hasn't moved in the last week. So what I'm watching here is I'm watching this kind of trend line. So what I need to see, you can see it's just kind of basing out over here. What we can do is, if it starts to just build out its range, tighten up its range a little bit, right? So it may come back down here and test the 200, but at some point you're going to break this trend line, and I think it's going to start to rerun. It's looking like it's going. Fucking Binance has been freezing all day. Oh, my Lord. Lordy Lord. That's a 400% move in the last couple of days. That's hot. My boy Kevin Cromwell's been all over this thing. Hopefully he's actually making some money. Oh, Josh, remember when you do trend lines, sometimes they go on diagonals. Mr. Day Trader, my preferred base coin in Binance, I usually keep things in USDT. USDT. So I keep it in USDT, and that way I can kind of trade NEO and ETH and some of these. But otherwise, I tend to keep a lot of Ethereum. But, if I'm pairing, I try to find whichever one's the most stable. Good job, Kevin. Proud of you, man. I'm always in your corner, buddy. Always in your corner. Hey, Gold, how you set up VWAP? So let me show you. So if you go here and just on T-Stud, you hit plot the chart. Just type in VWAP. And then add indicator 2, and then you want to hit the top and you'll have it. On TradingView, if you're using TradingView, I don't like TradingView for stocks. I mean, TC2000's a shit. TradingView's all right, but they're good for cryptos. TC2000 doesn't have cryptos yet. So if you want to add indicator to your intraday charts on TC2000 or TradingView, just hit indicators and then type in VWAP and boom, you're good to go, brother. Hey, Josh, did that make sense? Thanks, Jamie. Good seeing you. Hey, Joe, what's going on? What platform would you recommend is the easiest to purchase cryptos, best charts, and easiest funding to and from your bank account? So, Joel, this is the part about cryptos. GDAX and Coinbase is the easiest to fund, but they have the worst charts and the worst tools. Binance has great charts and great execution, but you can't fund with cash. You can only fund with coins. In terms of, so none of them, you need like 3 of them. And then you got to kind of transfer them back and forth. So what I do personally is I use Coinbase as my hub. That's my bank account because you can add in your debit cards and all of that stuff. And then from Coinbase, I'll transfer coins into Bittrex or Binance or whatever. And, you know, that's it. You know, you don't have to go in too crazy. Hey, Alex, Bootcamp, I believe, is $2,500. Don't quote me on that. The price changes with the things. We have payment plans and all that fun stuff too. Most of the students obviously will go on payment plans and spread it out over a handful of months and stuff like that. But I have not tried Robinhood yet, but that's on my to-do list. Eric, that's a good idea. If you make a fake email saying you're Jacqueline Perry, you got yourself a free boot camp. My name is, why don't you like, so his question is, why don't you like using BTC for pairing purposes? The BTC, like when you send money back and forth with BTC, the fees are high. And I just enjoy trading Ethereum more. It's more liquid. So because I've always been trading Ethereum since I started cryptos, it's just kind of been my thing. I know how Ethereum moves. It's like I can feel her curves. When I trade Ethereum, it's like I don't even need charts. I can see that thing go. Milo, yeah, we accept Bitcoin for boot camp, and we do have one-on-one mentoring. I do take students one-on-one sometimes. Our boot camp students have as much time with us as they need anyways, but I do have a mentoring program where they come to my house for a week, and I work with everybody on a one-on-one basis every week. So that's something you can always email me about. Oh, what the fuck, Harsh? Yeah, you may want to end up customer service with that. If not, this is what I do, Harsh. Open up a Bitfinex account, transfer the coins from Coinbase to Bitfinex, and then cash it out. I know, Paul. You know what? Everybody's got a little bit of a different program. A lot of people's programs are fucking expensive, and it's like for like 3-4 days. So you know, we definitely do give the bang for the buck. That's for sure. And you know, most of my students, I have relationships with them that go for years because they're always coming in class. Hey, Dwarfy, is ETN a stock or a crypto? Yeah, so day traders asking like, hey, if I use for pairing purposes, say ETH, and ETH skyrockets, and then my coin goes too, will my returns be less because ETH is going? Yeah, because if ETH goes up 10%, then you're going to lose that. Josh, you got to go diagonal, brother. That's how opening range breakouts go. Just draw yourself a little triangle. Roberto, how many hours a day? How many hours a day does boot camp take? Classes 4 days a week, about 2 hours, give or take, a day. So four days, 2 hours. You'll have some homework. You'll have some studying to do. So I definitely, you know, account for a couple more hours of study. And then look, you're just going to learn faster. The more hours you put into something, you're going to learn a little bit faster. As always, life gets in the way, right? You have jobs, you have kids, all that stuff. That's why we do the lifetime access, because look, you may take boot camp for a couple weeks and then, right, you know, you get a project at work or something and it's like you're stuck. So you're going to watch recordings. Maybe you're going to come back into the next boot camp. You know, that happens sometimes too. Class starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Guys, Gemini is also, Nick is right, Gemini is also really good and trustworthy for adding in fiat deposits. So my friends, it is time to run. I will see everybody January 9th, Tuesday in class. And by the way, we'll be on YouTube Live 5 p.m. on Wednesdays. We're always 5 p.m. Wednesdays, YouTube Live, talking cryptos. And, you know, I got all sorts of cool stuff planned this year. So you guys are going to have some fun. Summer boot camp, I believe, summer boot camp at my house will be in end of April or May. So I know a lot of you guys are coming to that. As you know, the only rule for summer boot camp is you got to stay at my place. We put everybody bunk bed style, salute your shorts in my place. We don't do hotels here. But it's pretty fun. So last year we had like 15 people in the house. I set up desks like everywhere over this place. And dude, it was pretty cool. Hi, my friends. I love you guys. It's been real. It's been fun. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Good, 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 good. All right. My friends, I'm going once. Going twice. I live in Destin, Florida. We're right here on the beach, man. This is how we do summer boot camp. We train during the day. Then we do a little bro swim. We have women students too, of course. Do a little bro swim. Kick it around on the beach. Then we come back. We have a couple beers. I live next to this beach bar. They got dollar beers from 3 to 6. We get a little tipsy. Then we come back and do nighttime class. It's pretty fun. All right, my friends. I got to go. I got things. Well, I don't have anything to do. Well, I'll be here, playing with my computer. Later.